And the true Messiah will now rule the world from Jerusalem, with a rule which will be eternal, meaning there is nothing to replace it. This is the end of history. The Imam al-Mahdi will live for only 7 years, and then he'll die, said the Prophet Muhammad. I don't have this information, I'm giving you what the Prophet said. But Isa alayhi salam will live for 40 years. The Prophet said that Jesus alayhi salam will get married. The Pope doesn't know that. I hope he'll marry a Palestinian girl. Yes. And he will have children. Yes. And then he will die. Yes. So don't worship him, because he's going to die. Worship the God who never dies. And then said the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, he's going to be buried next to me. Next to me in Medina. This would be the end of the story of Jerusalem in the Quran. What follows after this is the last part of the last stage of history. We don't know how long it will last. Nobody knows, only Allah knows. But at the end of that, Allah is going to bring the world to an end. But at this time, make up your mind for this hadith now. Prepare yourself for it. There will be such a collapse of morals, sexual morals of the world, and you can see it coming now. That people will be committing sexual intercourse in public like donkeys. And the best man of that age will be one who would pass by and see two people having sex in public, and he would say to the man, "Can't you at least take her behind the wall?" That is the tomorrow that is coming. And then Allah will bring the world to an end. And then will come the day of judgment, when we stand before Allah. And then all that is spoken in the Quran, and which we have quoted in this book, all of these things will now be seen with the eyes which can no longer be denied. This has been Jerusalem in the Quran, and I've taken exactly 2 hours. Before I end, let me commend that you read this book, because the entire lecture is in here. I could not give you the whole lecture. And one final word, my teacher who trained me, Maulana Fadlur Rahman Ansari, was also trained by Maulana Abdul Alim Siddiqui, rahimahullah. Maulana Abdul Alim Siddiqui visited Singapore something like 26 times in the 1920s and 1930s. And I heard the story of how this masjid was established. And Maulana Fadlur Rahman Ansari, who was my teacher, he lived in Singapore in 1935 for 1 year. He wrote this book, which is now available outside, The Quranic Foundations and Structure of Muslim Society. If we are to establish Islam today, then this, I suggest to you, is the manual, the handbook, the guide that we should follow, in order that the Quran may be the means through which we can establish Islam today. I hope and pray that you would support Masjid Abdul Alim Siddiqui in the effort to try to raise the funds needed to reconstruct the masjid. I will also put my hand in my pocket to give whatever I can, and I hope that you will also do the same. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.